Palace silently reveals evidence of fake Archie and Lily. Meghan and Harry are scared. A royal expert has said that King Charles has decided to put the people and the monarchy first by not responding to the whole melodrama that is Meghan and Harry. Such an embarrassment for the people and the monarchy for him to go back and forth on this issue and then have to deal with Meghan and Harry's never-ending accusations of racism and unfair treatment, and also, of course, more lies, more innuendos, and more mocking and taunting by Meghan herself. On the official royal family website, you can find in the section about Meghan the photos of her in the red and purple outfit with the dropped bump, and also the video of her going to visit the Mayhew Animal Charity. Now, it cut right before she stood up and that bump made that loud popping noise, which of course she then grabbed. I suspect they were trying to tell us something. It really is time to stop insulting our intelligence. We are not that dumb. And really, they're just kicking the can on down the road. If the invisible children were not in the direct line of succession, then it wouldn't really be an issue. Now, if William's family were to pass away all of a sudden, then we would be in really big trouble. And I know it's not something I want to think about either, but technically it is possible. After all, we just got done with this pandemic. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, and they are very close to the throne if you ask me. Another thing is that commercial surrogacy is actually not allowed in Britain, and that applies to them as well. They're not above the law. I suspect that is the bigger issue here. And then we've got the Bring Gringus and Stasi Schroeder-Clark factor. Why have those mothers who both work in the media not spoken up about why they have allowed photos of their kids to be passed off as Archie and Lilibet? I mean, how are those kids going to feel when they get older, knowing that they were used to impersonate kids in the line of succession to the British throne? That is going to ruin them. In Hollywood, the stunt doubles are named on the credits. Now, these kids don't have any say in it. It is wrong. Neither woman was married when they gave birth to them. So are they going to forever have the question of paternity hanging over them? This needs to be explained, and fast. We are not idiots. We've got the evidence of our own eyes and ears. We don't need more than that. And the kids we have seen in photos did not come from Meghan. Why has she not sued everybody who says the kids are from surrogates? I mean, you know they love to sue. The fact that they're ignoring this little matter tells us a lot. Meghan has done so much, and she has gotten away with so much. It is about time that she was held accountable for all her crimes. And what bothers me the most out of this whole mess is not even the fact that they use surrogates. It's the fact that Meghan could have done a lot for surrogacy. It would have brought the conversation to a big audience. I could even imagine a Netflix show focused on surrogacy. But all that she did was try to trick everybody, try to manipulate everybody, and then bask in the adoration of being pregnant on a global scale. Meghan simply could not give up the opportunity to wallow in being pregnant, and that explains the moon bump. When all the inconsistencies surrounding the baby bump started to appear, then Meghan should have just had a miscarriage, and then after a little bit, they could have released an announcement that, unfortunately, for medical reasons, she couldn't have children. Now, if this had happened, then there wouldn't be this big mess that we see today. And I don't know for sure what King Charles's role is in all of this, but it really is sad to think that he might be actively lying to the people about Meghan and Harry's kids, if they're even real, being eligible for the line of succession to the throne. See, the law is that children have to be born of the body, and there is simply no evidence that this happened. He does not need to get caught up in this public fighting. He could simply release a well-thought-out statement for which he has great advisors to help him with, explaining what is known and saying that the royal family didn't participate in this scam. He needs to shut down that argument before it is allowed to be made. And really, he should have done this basically as soon as the Queen passed away. I mean, waiting on something like this is not a good look. Another option would be for them to insist on DNA testing. Does anybody think that Harry and Meghan are going to allow anyone to get DNA samples from both them and the invisible kids? Oh, I don't think so. Nobody ever sees the children anyway. They are not on the most recent plane manifest where all passengers were listed, and no reputable people have been anywhere near their house or in their house and seen the kids. Even the doctor that allegedly delivered the last child has completely disappeared. So all the royal family can really do is take their word for it that the kids are real. If you think about it, really what more could they possibly do other than maybe just show up and announce in Montecito, but I don't think that would go over very well. So what the royal family really needs to do is just release a statement, either admitting or denying whether or not a surrogate was used, and then they don't need to say anything else. But because the invisible kids are in the line of succession, this issue has to be dealt with one way or the other. If on down the line it comes out that they're not real or they came from a surrogate and the king knew it the whole time, that it's not going to be good for the monarchy. For the record, I don't even care if they were born from a surrogate, but it's time to be honest and transparent with the public. And if it's true that they used a surrogate, remove the kids from the line of succession. It's not fair for Harry and Meghan to be allowed to break the rules whenever they want to. I understand this is a difficult position for the palace to be in. If they were to ignore the pregnancy and baby announcement, then they would call them racist. And if they didn't put Archie on the website and in the line of succession, then they would for sure be called racist. They missed the only small window they could have had by forcing Meghan and Harry to lovingly announce surrogacy right from the very beginning. If they did that, I think they would have gotten a lot of sympathy for people for a process that many people at this point use. And I'm sure MI5 would have known what they were up to. I don't believe for a second the palace didn't know. So my theory is that everything Meghan and Harry did was just so bizarre, so ridiculous, that the normally slow-moving, thoughtful, discreet, protocol-bound palace aides were just caught off guard. I'm sure the palace aides didn't know what to think every single time they did something more and more ridiculous, and this just goes to show how established the palace was in putting up with Harry's antics over the years. And then, in due time, they were able to craft a counter-narrative to rehab Harry's image, with Scent of Ali and Invictus and all that, but they could not come up with alternative positive image of Nazi Harry, or naked poker-playing Harry, or the sadistic polo player Harry instantaneously. The palace handlers needed a lot more thought and time and effort, and this is how the palace functions. At a slow pace but sure-footedly, and after running it up the flagpole for more thoughtful consideration. But the Meghan and Harry show was basically like a train wreck, and people didn't know what to do. They saw it coming, and they were mesmerized watching it, and they watched it in slow motion as it approached. And then when it happened, it ruined their entire landscape, making it unrecognizable, and destroying so many precious things in its wake. So what are they supposed to do now? Well, they're going to need to come up with a narrative to explain their own inaction, as well as an outcome that's going to satisfy the people of the UK and the Commonwealth. The king simply cannot expect people to respect and support the monarchy if there are undocumented people in the line of succession. My goodness. If the invisible children without proper pedigree were left off the line of succession, then this wouldn't be an issue. It seems to me like the working royals are working extra hard since Her late Majesty passed away. They've got to be feeling tired by now, and they're working overtime to counterbalance all of the horrible stuff generated by Harry and Meghan. I cannot see how they can sustain this long term. And the king really owes it to his heir to clean up this mess right now. William has a few lifetime projects that are worthy of a future king, so it's not fair for him to have to worry about this Harkle mess. Let's just hope and pray that the king can find a good solution as soon as possible.